I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're different people after seeing this fucking movie. We just saw the substance. So the plot of this movie is pretty simple. Demi Moore plays an aging actress, and
she doesn't want to age anymore.
it's true. She wants to remain young and beautiful and vibrant forever.
Well, society makes her think that she has to be that. The boss that she has specifically is like, okay, you're done. We're getting someone younger and prettier and fitter to replace you.
Yeah, her manager and producer, a little on the nose, is named Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
You know, they're making the illusion that surface level show business, you're only appreciated for your looks, you're only appreciated for your smile. The commodity of attractiveness is what you're selling people as a female, you know, whatever it is, pop singer, actress. It's very cynical, but
yeah, not to
disturbingly real in a way.
Dennis Quaid plays that role very well.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid was great. He was gross.
Just the epitome of sloth.
There were scenes where he was eating and he's just shoving food in his mouth, and you can hear you can hear all the gross mouth sounds.
He's talking with his food in his hands and like flinging the sauce back and forth. I mean, it was just horrible.
So the very first part of the movie is her Hollywood star being placed. They're placing the individual pieces. They're cementing the star into the ground. And then you see like a time lapse of, I'm assuming, her entire career while it just looks at the star. And, you know, it starts to get weathered. It starts to crack. You know, people are walking over it. At first, they're talking about her as an actress. She's like, oh, she was in that one movie. And then after a certain point, it's like, no one even knows who she is anymore. She's just a name on the road. What she's doing in her 50s, essentially her twilight years in the industry, is she's doing like a Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons workout show. And it's really creepy and weird. Like, Demi Moore, of course, she was amazing in this performance. I can only imagine how weird it is to tackle that kind of thing as an aging actress. Like, surely she hasn't lived like as hollow a life as the character she's portraying, but man, it really makes you feel creepy about your body and aging. And I'm going to just give a couple of basic things and then we'll jump right into the spoilers. So, shot very well. It's filmed the exact way I like it. There are a lot of very intimate close-ups. Almost every shot of the movie is communicating something in subtext. I don't really have the best vocabulary for describing filmography. I feel like every time we do a peekaboo, I'm just like, it looks good. And I mean, this movie looks great. It's very well shot.
Yeah.
Everything portrayed on screen is at its maximum.
Sometimes too much so.
Yeah, like if you're placing a glass on a table, you hear the cling, you know, it's very visceral in your face.
That's called foley, the art of foley. That's when two people overlap the sounds, because when somebody just closes a book, that doesn't generate enough sound for it to be caught on video camera. So then what they do is the art of foley. In this particular movie, they add sound effects to things that don't even have sound effects. When she first is like touching syringes, you can like hear it like vibrating as if it were a cell phone.
So the writer and director, Corley Fargeet, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's clear that this is kind of symbolic of her feelings about the industry of filmmaking, and it's extremely intense.
I wouldn't just say filmmaking, I'd say society / the world as a whole, what we prioritize.
It's a very, very scathing statement about the commodity of female attractiveness.
Beyond that, too, it's not just female attractiveness, but the way that we view it and the way that we force women to interact with it.
Yeah, the way that there's like such a narrow field of what we allow, what's considered attractive on a superficial level.
And I think too, it also like highlights the female gaze versus the male gaze, how we see women differently. Obviously, as a woman, I can see more what a woman would feel in this situation. And so I think even Danny and I talking about this, he'll have different opinions. And I think that for me, this was just unsettling in a way that I can't express. I said in the car on the way home, I would rather stab myself in the leg than go watch that again.
It was that intense.
It was that horrible. In a great way. We both said that we needed to take a shower after watching that movie.
Yeah, I need to brush my teeth after that movie. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So it was shot really well. The performances are great. They're practical effects. I don't think I saw one digital effect in the movie, except for maybe something with the eyes. The basic plot, of course, is that Demi Moore's character, she's aging out of her Jane Fonda show. the producer's talking about replacing her. She gets in a car crash on her way home from that. It's an all-around bad day for her. But in the hospital, this young, attractive male nurse offers her a USB and a note to essentially get the substance. This subscription-based youth tonic.
Mm-hmm. Or that's what you think.
Yeah, that's what you think at first. And then we'll get into exactly what it is in the spoilers. But she essentially is able to revert to a younger version of herself. And then she starts to revive her career. She becomes her own replacement. And it seems like she gets a second chance at life, but not just that, like an idealized version of what her young self would have got.
So we see that part a little differently. I don't think it's reverting to a younger version of her same self, but we'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah, so I think it's just time to get to it.
Yeah, I don't know how we can dance around it anymore.
This is one of those movies that you're going to see once and think about a lot, but you probably wouldn't see it again.
I have no need to ever see that. I said to Danny when we watched the trailer, I do not want to watch this movie, and I stand with my former self that I did not need to see this movie because I feel molecularly changed after watching this.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed feelings about it myself. I really appreciated it as a film. I appreciated it as an experience, but it's a ride I don't necessarily need to take again. If I had to give an analog for that, Titan is a good example. The movie about the girl that, like, I'm not even going to get into it. That's a whole thing. Martyrs is another one where it's just like so visceral and in your face that it's going to stick with you one way or another.
What's that one that Harry Styles just did?
Oh, with Florence Pugh.
Yes. It's like that. It's the same kind of abusing women in that vein that we use them as our trophy, our cash cow, our bread and butter, our love.
Yeah, a woman's divvied up into the things she can provide a man.
Correct.
Instead of having her own autonomy and value as an individual appreciated. Because at the character's core, Elizabeth Sparkle is the name of the actress. She wants to have value not tied to her attractiveness. She just wants some kind of basic love and affection.
If we peel back the layers on this, if you look at women who are in film or in the public eye, there is a level of not feeling good enough. And so Demi Moore, Elizabeth Sparkle, this woman grapples with that the whole time. And so when she finally does this transition that we're going to talk about here in a second, you can just tell that she doesn't feel worthy enough to be her former self. She feels like she always has to be the younger, prettier, better version. And that is what's so damning and damaging about our society. It could have done with a little less gore for me, but I think you will change some people after seeing this.
So I would say if you want a movie that's going to really hit you, like really affect you and change you a little bit, you're going to be different after this movie.
Yeah.
I'd say see it in theaters because you can't escape everything that's happening. If you do it at home, you're just going to look at your phone or tune out when things start getting really brutal.
I feel like we say that a lot about these kinds of movies, but here's the thing. I am a little bit of a scaredy cat. This movie isn't even scary. It's just traumatizing AF.
Body horror.
That normally doesn't trip me up, but I had my ears plugged probably the whole time. And I think I had this complaint the last Peekaboo we did. I feel like the volume on movies lately in movie theaters are just so far up. And maybe that's everybody's strategy of a jump scare lately. I do not do well with loud noises in general. And so I had my ears plugged for at least the second hour of this movie.
And the sound is very oppressive, but I grew up listening to Nine Inch Nails, so I kind of like being abused.
Don't get me wrong, I love some good music and I love going to live concerts, which will literally bust your eardrum. But this is just a different level because I'm already unnerved. When you desensitize somebody because you're just jamming sound in their ears, they're going to become overstimulated. And then I can't regulate the feelings of like, God, this is horrible, in addition to the sound that my eardrums are just pinging. It's a lot.
This is not going to be something that everyone will like.
Call me a snowflake, but this should have a trigger warning at the beginning because if little girls saw this movie, they would do this. When you're a little girl, you think, oh, she's prettier, she's taller, she's thinner, she's blonder, she's thiser, she's thater. And this is the epitome of that. I want to put a very clear warning on it. If you are a feminist, this movie is really hard to watch. I wouldn't even say I'm a full throttle feminist, but I love women, period, point blank. And so it's hard for me to witness women not being able to thrive. And if you have that unresolved, I'm not good enough, I wish I were this or that trauma, don't see this movie. Just be warned, if you don't like to watch women struggle with their beauty or feeling confident in their skin, this movie is hard to watch.
So that sounds like a no.
I won't dissuade it because I think that this movie is powerful. Even though I don't love the way that it went about its message, I understand and respect the art itself. But that's because they did their job so well. Yeah. If they would have not done their job so well, I would have not left there feeling like I was shot with a nail gun. I literally walked into the parking lot and just looked at the sky for a second because I was like, what actually just happened here? We're into spoilers now.
The actress that plays the young version of Elizabeth Sparkle,
who is Sue,
Margaret Qualley, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She does a great job too.
I'm not impressed by her performance, but that's also me being...
That's you being biased against what she is in the film, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So when she's at the doctor's, they finish all the tests and the guy's like looking at her spine weirdly. And he's like, you would be a good candidate. And then he slips her the flash drive. She takes it home. She watches the flash drive. It gives her all the information about this substance and she gets a phone number. They give her the address. It is a very sketchy location. In the mail, they have sent a key card so that she can get in. She gets there. She has a little locker, opens it up. She gets the box with the substance in it, takes it home. From this moment forward, the rest of the things that happen, it's indescribable. So she gets the substance box and it almost looks like a weekly lunch plan. So you know how there's like HelloFresh or like a meal prep program?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like if you've ever unboxed like an iPad or an iPhone.
Yeah, it has very clearly labeled steps. This is what you must do now. This is what you're going to do in the next 7 days. This is what you're going to continue to do for the rest of your life. From this moment forward, these are the things that you have to do in order to maintain the substance's effects.
Which is essentially you're hatching a younger version of you.
And Danny and I disagree about that. So I don't think it's a younger version of you. They say like a better younger version, but I don't think that that is what she looked like when she was younger. I think it's a totally different person. I don't know how to describe it.
You kind of get the feeling there's some CRISPR type stuff where they're taking out certain things in people or the substance just brings out dominant traits or just whatever's considered attractive.
Well, it's definitely genetic splicing. I mean, for sure. Whatever the juice is, whatever this substance is, genetically splices the best parts of you into this creature that forms in your body after the first injection and rips your back open and you come
birth
out.
This
correct.
Full-sized human.
Full-sized human out of your back.
It is so grotesque of a process, too. It was very brutal.
It was so visceral.
There's a lot of nudity in this movie, but I hesitate to call any of it sexy. Even like the gratuitous, glamorous, like constant ass shots are supposed to make you feel gross.
I don't think that most people watching that will feel gross. I think that most people watching that will view that exactly as media does. We have things like that where it's literally just a viewing portal for you to watch somebody shake their ass. That is what we sell. That is what women are to society. And so for this part, it wasn't gross to me, but that part in the movie is stuff we already do. So after she's like birthed out of her back, then you have to immediately feed it this goo, and the goo keeps your old body alive while you take like a daily shot of yourself. Goo that you withdraw from the former body. It is absolutely wild.
So from the moment Demi takes the substance, the movie follows a pretty basic formula till the end. Once you take the substance, you've split a version of yourself out and your consciousness transfers over to the younger body. You essentially have to keep your older body alive on like a stim pack of nutrients, I'm guessing, that last about a week. And while your older body is passed out, you have to take out spinal fluid and then inject it into yourself to maintain stabilization. So you get a week as your younger self, and then you have to go back to your older self. It's like a maintenance thing.
And it says no exceptions on the pack.
Because as the movie goes on, of course, what starts happening is that she wants to maintain her younger self a little bit longer. So she does like an extra couple hours because she wants to have sex with a cool motorcycle guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then once she returns to her older, I think it was 50-year-old body.
Yeah, Demi Moore body.
She sees that one of her fingers is aged to over 100.
Yeah.
So you kind of get the idea of what's going to happen from there. She'll continue to stay in her younger form a little bit longer, and her 50-year-old body will extremely age.
Yeah, it will suffer because she won't want to return to the older body as she keeps aging it at such a speed that the only way to stay alive and feeling good is to be in the younger body.
Yeah, and I wanted to know if it is the same person. Like, is it an actual transfer of minds?
Is it truly that they are one mind, two bodies? Or is it that you have created a clone that has your same essence, but again, because its DNA is not the exact same as yours, because it's the better version of you, are its thought processes slightly different? How do you know from change to change who's really in control?
The way you transfer your consciousness between the two is via a blood transfusion. I don't know if that would transfer consciousness, but I like the idea that she is the same person. It's the same brain, but in different bodies, you have different experiences. You have different hormones. You're treated differently by society. You're more immature.
Well, I think that's it right there. The hormone imbalance that you would experience from a 50-year-old body
swapping
to a 20...
from like 50 to 19 or 20-year-old.
Exactly. Even if it was the same person switching bodies, you would make different choices because your chemical makeup is different.
Okay, so Elizabeth is Demi Moore, and then she rebrands herself as Sue when she's
the younger body.
As Elizabeth becomes like an afterthought to Sue, there's a dysphoria between the two bodies.
Yeah.
The younger body will act like the old body's like a inconvenience. And then when Elizabeth is again old, she starts resenting her younger self for all the love and attention she gets and just how generally easier her life is.
Yeah. It's like they have to do damage control to just get themselves back into their regular week.
As Sue becomes the dominant existence, Elizabeth is staying in. She's not going out anymore. She sees her time in her 50-year-old body as just waiting to become young again. And there's a point where she gets out of the hospital at the beginning of the movie where somebody that was like an older classmate in, I'm guessing, high school bumps into her. And, you know, she was a famous actress and he was just kind of a little geeky dude. And he's still kind of like a cringy grown up. But it's clear that he is the person that would shower her with genuine love and affection and create something that's actually real with her, because in the movie, she has no friends. She doesn't seem to have any significant other, no family. Fame is all she really had. The only things in her apartment are a huge
picture of herself,
like floor to ceiling image of herself, the unattainable icon version of herself.
Yep.
And then a TV and then a window that overlooks LA.
And her bookshelf with all of the awards she's won in her very long career of being sold for money.
Yeah, like her career is essentially to look good, and if she doesn't look good anymore, she doesn't have a career.
Correct.
Because she didn't spend any time in her life building anything else up.
Yeah. And so, like Danny was saying, when this guy runs into her, later on when she's grappling with Sue and how Sue makes her feel worthless, she reaches out to this guy in an effort to prove that she is worth it, that she could have nice things, and that like
that as Elizabeth, she can actually have a life, a meaningful existence.
She could feel love. And so she reaches out to him and he's like, great, let's go tonight. She gets herself all gussied up. She puts on this red dress, and because she has her crone finger, she like wears these gloves to like cover her arms. She's making smart moves. She's got her high heels on. She's fucking Demi Moore. I mean, that's what I want to say to her the whole time. But as a woman, I know how hard that is. I look at her and think, damn, she's Demi Moore. How could she not feel so amazing? But I know there are days that women listening will look in the mirror and be like, oh gosh, I feel gross today. And I know that men can feel that way too, but there's such a pressure on women to look good or to feel good. And she completely like beats herself up physically, emotionally, and mentally, and doesn't even let herself go out to dinner with this nice man who may have actually made life worth living.
Just a quick note, Demi Moore is 61. And she was playing a 50-year-old, and you believe it, dog.
I mean, I
Illuminati healthcare is doing wonders for her.
That lip filler, she looked good.
But she also looked like she'd had work done, like she's trying to maintain something or
For sure.
turn back the clock.
Oh, yeah. Who in Hollywood hasn't, though?
I think that's also just a choice the character would make and not necessarily Demi Moore. But I don't want to comment on...
For sure, but I know that Demi Moore has had work done. That's my point. In actual, outside of this movie, who hasn't had work done in Hollywood? Because that's what sells.
So when Elizabeth is herself again, her old self... She's essentially just binging food and TV.
She's doing what little old ladies do. She sits and watches Food Network, game shows.
And you don't even necessarily get to see exactly what she does, but whenever Sue comes out and sees what her other self had essentially been doing, same person, by the way.
Yeah, Sue always has to investigate the apartment as if time is lost. There's not an explanation to the gap in time, which again leaves me to believe that somehow they're not the same person.
Yeah, it's not explicitly clear if it's just two different people. One gets to be active, but one life feeds the other.
Yeah.
So it's a reciprocal thing. And the way that the substance is marketed to the people in the movie, it's very propaganda-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Huge booming text, very quick
clear
transitions
label.
and sounds.
Yeah.
Very abstract, weird imagery.
Minimal marketing.
They keep emphasizing, don't forget, you're actually just one person.
Yeah.
You're having two different experiences, but you're the person in both. Maintain balance.
They both call this hotline all the time, and the guy repeats that to them all the time. You are one person. Control yourself.
And as far as tropes in mad science movies go, it's usually that the mad science itself is the thing that's going to go wrong. But in this movie, they essentially just made an immortality serum that's like subscription based.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's handled financially. So my thought is that, like in real life, if something's free, you're the product.
Yeah, you're...
In the same way that if you download a free app, they're probably selling your information or there'll be microtransactions at some point.
You're definitely paying for that in other ways.
So they never explicitly explain what the substance is, and they shouldn't. But if I were to posit a headcanon, it would be that this is a process that will be more refined later. And the reason it's free for people now is because they're still trying to work out bugs. The idea being that you could make a younger version of yourself and then permanently transfer over instead of doing this balancing act of 1 week in your original body, 1 week in your new body.
Yeah.
So the night that she's going out on the date with this dude, it's clear that this is her last chance to have a chance at happiness as Elizabeth. And she just keeps stopping and looking in the mirror and doubting that she's actually worth seeing until she just opts out of the date entirely. And from there, it's just a loss of balance between Sue and Elizabeth. Sue's career is taking off. They want her to do this New Year's special. They're getting amazing ratings on the new version of the Jane Fonda, fitness workout show. Yeah. That's gratuitous as fuck.
I joked on the way home that I completely forgot in the second half of the movie that the first half was straight porno.
The first half is kind of a serious drama with an element of gross out body horror. And then, as the balance gets to be skewed between the two, the time as Elizabeth gets more erratic, she starts getting extremely jealous of Sue. She starts cooking and eating more, and as she's cooking, it's very, monstrous and...
It's, uncanny. There's, dirty... It's just the house
dirty
is dirty.
Dishes, food splashing around. She rips the gizzards out of, a chicken.
She paper maches the window so she can't see outside to the bulletin board of Sue.
So we finally get to the end of the movie where things just go batshit.
Yeah.
The Sue persona takes out months worth of spinal fluid from Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has to pay the physical debt for that. So she's essentially aged to easily 157 or something. She looks like Grandpa Goron, and she also looks like Henrietta from Evil Dead would be a good analog, buried in the fruit cellar.
I don't even know if you could put an age on the creature that emerges. She is so withered and now has monstrous abscesses, and her hands are so witch-like that they are pruned, and her fingernails are rotting. It is monstrous.
Yeah, she looks a whole mess. And she's like, fuck it, I'm getting off the substance, I'm ending this. So she gets the termination package from the shady organization that's providing the substance. And it's just a syringe you inject into the younger body that just says terminate. She pumps, I'd say 90% of the syringe in, and then she gets cold feet. She's like, I'm destroying whatever future I may have. So she tries to transfer her conscious back into the younger body, but because of the termination fluid,
it didn't work in the
it doesn't
arm.
entirely work, and then both bodies are conscious at the same time. And Sue loses her shit, seeing that Elizabeth just tried to kill her. So it's extremely brutal. Sue essentially just chases Elizabeth through the house, beats her, and kills her.
She brutally breaks that girl's face. And the crazy part is the whole time you're sitting there thinking, that's your ticket. If you kill her, you have
the original body dies,
no life.
You die in the younger body.
Yeah.
You can't sustain the younger form. Oh, the folly of youth. So after Sue kills Elizabeth, she knows she's in deep shit.
Yeah, she can feel it immediately. It's like when Elizabeth takes her last gasp of air, she can feel it in her chest that she has a time clock until the end of her existence.
Her going to this New Year thing is probably going to be her last hurrah. So she gets there, she's getting all dolled up for this huge special, and then one of her teeth fall out. So she's degrading.
Yeah.
The young body is degrading, and this is something that Sue's mind just can't handle.
Correct.
So there's this fucked up scene where she's in the bathroom and her teeth are starting to fall out, but she's still trying to do like the Hollywood actress beautiful smile. And it's really disturbing and funny. And you can see she's starting to like crack and go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, she's crying because she can't make the smile happen. And she's trying to process now she doesn't have teeth, how she's supposed to go on. And she knows it's ending. It's just like a whole culmination of emotions.
The dream is ending. The fantasy is about to explode. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Yep.
But she decides to try and use the substance a second time to spawn another body out of the younger one. And as she's in the elevator, her ear falls off.
Oh,
it starts getting brutal. She starts melting,
so bad.
essentially.
Oh.
So she gets back to her apartment, and she injects herself with the substance a second time.
After the initial starter substance is used, you're supposed to dispose of it.
So this is where the movie goes full Cronenberg. The thing that hatches out of the younger body is a monster. This is going to be hard to describe. It's all lumped up. It's, all Frankenstein, Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's got multiple eyes, multiple mouths. She can't even form words anymore. She can barely speak. And until this point, the movie's been very dramatic. You really sympathize with her as this process is going on. And this is the first time it just kind of gives you an olive branch of like, we're going to lighten the mood a little bit. And they've been doing like title cards like, this is Elizabeth, this is Sue. And after this monster breaks out, they call it like Monstroso Elizasu. I was really thankful for that title card just because the movie felt so serious and brutal at this point. It's like, I just needed something. It's like, okay, we're steering into a jokey, campier version of this. So this monster has like boobs all over its back. It's got Demi Moore's face on the back, and it's just twisted and contorted in pain.
2 strands of hair, 7 sets of teeth, 1 arm out the back. I won't call it a face on the front. I'll call it 1 eye and some teeth on the front with a boob on its cheek. That's what a little kid would draw. This
is a full-on monster, but she's also just going to try to go back to the studio and do this New Year's show.
It's what she's made for.
And at this point of the movie, it's just really hard to watch because you're emotionally tied up in this character's experience and you know everything's fucked and done. She's gone back to the well way too many times. It's all borrowed time, and the only question is how grotesque is this going to be? So she like squeezes herself into this Elsa Frozen Cinderella blue dress, ripping holes in certain parts of it so it'll fit.
Yeah, there's like a boob hanging out in the front. There's a boob hanging out in the back. I mean,
it's just an amalgam of parts at this point.
Yeah.
So realizing that she can't really go out and fool anyone, she just cuts out this idolized like image of herself, of Elizabeth. And she just cuts out the face of that image and essentially just staples it over her own and then slathers lipstick on it.
Yeah, she's
and she's like, this'll work. This'll work. So she gets back into the studio and the presentation, the pageant is about to start. And there are all of these
backup dancers. They're like the Rockettes. Like they're like a version of the Rockettes.
So everyone's in position and it's literally just time for her to come out on stage. And, this hulking monstrous mass is just limping out there. Man, and this is just crazy. The funny thing is, like, no one knows what to make of it at first.
Well, because she still has the paper face on at the beginning.
And that's almost like it's fooling them.
Yeah.
Because that's how superficial everybody is, I guess.
Despite not seeing how grotesquely large she's bulging out of this dress. Like, it's no longer the dainty little woman that was in it before. It is now ripping at the seams.
They're literally
revealing-
like organs dragging on the ground.
Oh God, it was horrible. I thought it was a placenta. I didn't even think it was an organ.
I don't know what it was.
But it's still like attached to her. It's dragging on the ground behind her.
I get really squeamish with body horror, so there were a lot of times I had to like avert my eyes or just adjust myself. So the mask falls off. You get the regular Frankenstein of like, it's a monster, kill it. But it's also just very
So
stylized
sad.
and goofy because it's not even like, what the fuck happened? It's just it's a monster, kill it. It's gross.
Yeah, it's so sad though. That moment for me was like breaking. Like, it was hard to watch because not only is she this abomination, but her mouth doesn't even make real words. So she goes to speak
And the movie puts up subtitles for her.
because you can't understand. She sounds like, what's the guy in the Goonies? She sounds like Sloth when she starts to talk. It's like very slow, not enunciated. It's hard to understand, and it just breaks me because I know that she wants that so bad.
Everyone breaks into a panic. It's a huge gross out, and then someone ends up like swinging a mic stand at her, and her entire top half explodes into this thing of blood and gore. But she regenerates like a Resident Evil monster.
And not a new head. I'm just going to call it a new...
Just parts.
Yeah.
And we're in full Evil Dead at this point. So she's fire hose spraying the audience with blood.
Yep.
It's all on the walls. It's on the ceilings. It's dripping off of everything. Everyone's painted red.
People are pushing her back and forth. Like, they're just trying to get this creature out of here. They're trying to kill her. Everybody's screaming at her. It is just a mosh pit of her goo and organs sprayed everywhere.
So she's hobbling out of this theater, just a fountain of blood and gore and viscera. And you're like, where can the movie possibly go from here?
Yep.
Right as you're thinking that, she trips, falls, and just breaks apart like a ice sculpture that fell on the ground.
Yeah.
Then the Demi Moore face that was on this abomination's back crawls its way out like an amoeba.
It's so creepy.
Bubbling, fleshy goo.
Yeah.
With a perfect Demi Moore face on top of it.
Yep.
And she crawls on top of her Hollywood star.
It's almost like a moment of recognition for her, like she's finally made it. And then just dissipates into a goo puddle.
She has a little fantasy that she finally gets the recognition she wants and deserves. Everyone says, like, you're beautiful, we love you no matter what, blah, blah, blah. Then she just dissipates into a pile of blood on the star, and then the next morning, it just gets Zambonied away.
And that's it. I felt sick when I walked out of the movie theater.
It scarred the shit out of me. 10 out of 10. I don't want to see it again.
I would not give it a 10, but I don't know how to rate. I personally don't know how to detach myself from the
Because it's not that the movie was bad. It had its intended effect. For you, it was incredibly traumatizing. For me, it was one of the craziest, grossest things I've seen, but I appreciate it for being that.
I appreciate the effect it had on me. I don't appreciate the effect itself. Like, I appreciate how good the art was that I am so upset, but I don't appreciate that I am upset.
Yeah, it drew from a lot of things like, Cronenberg movies, Reanimator, From Beyond, John Carpenter's The Thing, all of these different like body horror things, The Fly.
I was honestly so worried when she took the new starter serum. This was my biggest fear, and this I think would have traumatized me more. Instead of it being that abomination of parts, I was so worried it was going to come out even younger than her, and that thing was going to be idolized and sexualized like the younger was.
And thankfully, it just kind of snapped into more conventional horror movie territory.
Yeah.
But it was also really hard to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's just straight gore. If you like gore, watch this movie. We gave you a pretty generic plot summary, but at some point, Sue recognizes that there's some kind of growth happening under her skin, and so she starts to move it. It appears on like her right buttocks, and she is physically moving this mass by just pushing her fingers along her skin until she gets it up her back, and then it goes around towards her stomach. She sticks her hand in her belly button to pull out this chicken wing that was clearly from Elizabeth binge eating.
Yeah, something we didn't mention is that when they're transitioning between bodies, there's like a weird nightmare sequence for each of them. And it's the metaphor of what's going on between them.
Yep.
But again, the most fascinating thing about the movie is that the science of it appears to work. It's the person that fucked up the process.
Well, and so
the hubris.
Danny and I were talking about this in the car. I think that a science like this is always damned to fail.
Look at Ozempic now. This is the easy solution for maintaining your appearance, losing weight.
And yet people are abusing it and dying because this medicine is truly meant for diabetics, not for people intending to lose weight.
Truly, this movie is a scathing statement of where our society's headed.
We're already there. I think that's the most terrifying part, is that we are not far from where this movie is.
People seem to love this movie, and I get why. It's got really good reviews. I liked it too. I'm probably never going to watch it again. It was scarring. It won't be easy to forget.
Would I watch it again to make somebody else view this? Yes.
I would inflict this movie on someone else.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I can't be alone in the astonishment. And obviously we went together, but I would like to expose somebody to the craziness, the unpredictable ride that this is. This one for me is really hard to sum up into a pretty little bow of my opinion.
Horror movies, good horror movies at least, are usually reflective of the times we're living in. And I feel like this is the appropriate horror movie for the age we live in right now.
For sure. I think that's what's so scary about it.
This age of easy conveniences to the extent that you ruin your own life. I have a phone right here that I can order pizza, ice cream with a couple clicks. If I want, I can talk to people instead of actually being in a room with them.
I think for me, it's so much deeper than that. It's how unpresent we are in our current moment. We just have so many things that remove us from being present. And I'm not going to say every generation before us was fully present, but we are living in such an age now that I worry we'll never get back to a time of being able to be bored, to sit down and do nothing, to actually be patient and wait. We are incapable of being present when it really matters. And this movie highlights that. So see it at your own risk.
It was a lot.
Do you want me to say that? I wish I could scrub it out of my brain.
I mean, maybe I'm just a sick man, but I tend to like art that's like inflicted on you, you know? Goodbye.